Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. How are you doing? Now, I'm going to answer a question that somebody asked me on social media, but I don't know if they deleted their question or tech is really not being my friend at the moment. If you've been doing anything with me recently, you will know it's definitely challenging. So I don't know if it's just me being a user error, but I probably wouldn't have given your name anyway because I'm not sure if you want the entire world to know. But essentially, you messaged me to say that your guilt about your addiction issues is stopping you from having a clear connection to spirit, and you wanted my advice. And I, I think this all comes down to you. Because the spirit world that I know, the spirit world that I love, they don't judge any decision that we make, from addiction things to really difficult, human, petty, nasty things that we do. It was one of the most transformational things about my journey with spirit and my connection that even when I was a complete dickhead, they still loved me. When I lost my temper in my car and wound down my window and called someone the C word, spirit was still there. My guides were still there. They still loved me. And I have made choices in my life that I'm not proud of. I have made choices in my life that I can understand were made in moments of complete sadness and complete unhappiness. I have made bad choices. I have made terrible choices. I have made choices in anger, out of spite, out of sadness and sorrow and misery. And one of the greatest things that I have received on my journey with spirit has been the understanding that they have loved me through all of them. They have loved me when I was unable to love myself. And I just want you, the person that posed this question to me, to forgive yourself for the journey, to accept that there were times where you made choices that harmed yourself and harmed other people, but that's okay. It's just a moment in your journey. And when we're doing mediumship and we're opening up to spirit, this is why I think that the journey, all paths, you'll have heard me say it before, all paths lead to you. I think if a lot of us come to mediumship wanting to escape ourselves or wanting to fix ourselves, and it's such a bloody weird thing when it's not about escaping ourselves, but sitting with ourselves. When you go to open up to spirit to avoid yourself and find yourself inescapably stuck with yourself once more. And that is why, if you want to be a medium or you want to do this kind of work, it is 10% mediumship development, 90% self development. You have to sit with yourself. If you can't spend 5 minutes in your own company without berating yourself for where you've been and the choices you made, then you're not going to be able to do mediumship. Because in that tiny little pause where you become less aware of yourself and move into awareness of spirit, in the gap as that process takes place, is the gap where all of your stuff about you comes up to the surface. All of your beliefs about you, all of your thoughts about yourself, all of your experiences, all your unhealed trauma, that all comes up. Oh, look, a space. What can I give you? Sorry about Gloria, if you can hear that in the background. I remember one of my students really wanting to learn how to meditate, and Spirit just kept saying to them again and again, forget about the meditation, learn to just sit with yourself. make a cup of tea and just sit in the process of making a cup of tea. Don't turn away from yourself. Don't fill every moment of silence. And in the few years that I worked with her, she was just never able to do that simple activity. And if you're never able to do that, you're not going to be able to meditate, because the door that you walk through to meditation is the door of yourself. It's being present and sitting with you. So my advice to you, dear listener, is to know, first of all, that the wall that you're feeling energetically that is stopping you from connecting to spirit is yours. It comes from you. It comes from your judgments about yourself, about the decisions you've made and the choices you've made, and your lack of self-belief. I mean, this is relevant for you with addiction, but it's relevant for everybody in their mediumship. If you feel like spirit are too far away, or there's a wall or something stopping you from communicating with them, please recognize that that something is coming from you. It's easy to blame spirit or feel like they've left you behind, like they're going to work with everybody, but they're not going to work with you. That's not true. It's just you stopping that connection that is available to everyone. One of the things that I suggest you do is just really have a look at the energy of a lot of the mediums on social media, because there are a lot of people who work with spirit who are completely wrapped up in their ego. They're not nice people. They're not working with spirit because they want to help. They're working with spirit because they want to be rich, or this, that, or the other. These are not what I would call aligned. There's that word again. Purposes for working with the spirit world. But me thinking that's not aligned is also a judgment. So I'm being judgmental in this space. And when you start to recognize that everybody is just a bloody human, that spirit are working with those people, regardless of judgment of whether they are good enough or holy enough or spiritual enough, they're just working with them. You start to recognize that they could be working with you in that space. So, first things first, are you able to spend 10 minutes in your own company without wanting to run away, without filling that space? Because that is where your work should start. Start by doing exactly what Spirit told my student to do, which is sitting, making a cup of tea, and sitting and drinking that tea with no phone, no TV, no conversation, no distractions. Just you, yourself, and a beverage. Beverage of your choice. Other drinks are available. And when you can do that and you can be present with yourself, listen to what you have to say. Tune into your own soul. Is your own soul cross with your human self for the choices you've made? Does your own soul feel sad or regretful? Or has your own soul only grown and expanded and evolved as a result of choices that the two of you have made in collaboration, your human self and your soul self? And this then takes us back to that conversation that I've been having with Spirit about us always being in alignment. Because yes, you have made choices that would seem out of alignment or seem wrong if we're going to judge them, but they've also got you to where you are now. You are not the same version of you that made those choices. That version of you has gone. That version of you has grown, has changed, has shifted. There is only movement forward. And so sometimes we can sit too much with where we've been, and it is a balance. It's a balance between sitting with where we've been enough to heal from it and learn from it and integrate it, but also not sitting in it as a punishment, not holding ourselves in the energy of it as a judgment, as a punishment. I always thought when I worked with spirit that they would turn me into somebody that was good enough to work with them. And in absolute honesty, it was a revelation when I realized that they just wanted me to be me. And here's the irony: in accepting that and starting to understand it and allowing it, then I changed, because I thrived under true unconditional love. There was a period of time when I was a teenager when I really didn't want to be on the planet anymore. I've always had to be very aware of my mental health. It's always been an issue for me. It's something that I manage very well now, because I know the things that I need to do to keep myself in balance. And of course, even knowing that sometimes you can get it wrong. But I have never ever experienced a second's judgment from spirit about me not wanting to be here. They have never said, well, you nearly wasted the opportunity of this life, and so you're dead to us. You're cut off energetically. Never once. There has only been, I wish you could love yourself like we love you. So when you are opening up to spirit, you need to be comfortable enough with yourself and your own energy, which is not about perfection. It is about accepting who you are, flawed, sometimes wrong. I'm incredibly impatient. All of these aspects of ourselves that we would judge, when we think about spiritual gurus, we think about them waiting with a patient, slight smirky smile for the universe to bring the manifestations and the requests. And we don't really actually need to manifest anything, because we don't really need a house, because we've transcended houses and clothes, and we should be living in Hessian sacks and floating on a lily pad. Except we do want those things, and we do need those things, and we came here to be human beings. So give yourself the grace that you show to other people. Forgive yourself for getting it wrong, but accept that in getting it wrong, you got yourself to where you are now. Understand that nothing in spirit is ever wasted. All of these horrible experiences that I had in the difficult times, many of my own creation, they taught me so much. They've made me who I am. The regrets that I hold on to when trying to fit in with the pack at school made me unkind and difficult and mean, downright mean sometimes. I feel sad about when I think about that version of me that was so unassured of their own self that they tried to squash other people's selves. But spirit are still with me, and they are still with you. So find some time to be with you. Learn to forgive yourself a little bit for not being perfect. Maybe recognize that nobody is. We're all bloody messing it up all the time. And know that spirit will be there. I promise that they are. If you're not feeling anything, that's only because of your doubts about yourself and your feelings about yourself. Spirit are always with you, always, and always want to work with you. Find yourself a dickhead on social media whose energy you can't stand, and watch spirit be with them. Watch the manifestations come to them. Watch it all, and then recognize that they can have what they want, and they have spirit working with them, and they can do readings. So there's no darn reason why you can't. Do whatever it takes to move into a space of allowing you to be who you've been, but also who you're becoming. and then open up to spirit, and you will find them there, joyous to work with you, cheering you on with a sense of finally, you get it now. And let me know how you get on. I hope that this has helped, and thank you so much for submitting your question. Sending you love on your journey.